In this video, we will show you how to replace your transmission cooler line on this Chevy Trailblazer. This will be located along the passenger side of your transmission. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. In the engine compartment in front of your power steering pump pulley, you're going to find your transmission cooler lines. There's 2 of them in this area. Make sure that you're servicing the proper line. Now that we figured out which line we're replacing, let's take a screwdriver and carefully remove this plastic cover. With that out of the way, let's remove our metal clip. It's very small. Go ahead and use a pick and carefully remove it. This is under spring tension. Okay, there's that clip. Now we can start separating these 2 lines. Typically, you can just take hold of each of them and separate the 2. If you find that they're stuck together, go ahead and carefully cut the line that you are replacing, take hold of it with some locking pliers, give it a little twist, and remove it from the existing line that's still in place. In this instance, I will have to cut this. We'll make sure we leave plenty on here so I can grab it with those locking pliers as needed. There we go, they came out fairly easily. Let's make our way onto the vehicle. Make your way up and in between your right front control arm. Just above that axle is where you're going to find both of your transmission cooler lines. Now they are held in place with a bracket. Let's take hold of the transmission cooler line and lift it up and out of place. Now you'll find that these transmission lines make their way up along the passenger side of the transmission. We're going to have to remove this metal shield that's blocking the way for our hands to make our way up there. Use a 13mm to remove both of these mounting bolts. That one's nice and loose. We'll pause on that. Hold onto the shield while you remove both bolts, and then remove the shield. Now up inside this area right here is where we can see the lines go into the transmission. Now you can imagine how to replace the line at this point. You've already done it up along the top. Go ahead and remove that plastic cover, and then remove the clip that holds the line in place. Now that we have the plastic cover out of the way, let's remove the clip using our small pick. Keep in mind there could be fluid in this area, so have a collection bucket so you can recycle that fluid properly. There we go. Take hold of this line and start removing it. We'll let this drain out. Just have to work this around a little bit. There it is, friend. Now we can install our metal clip on our connector. This should fit right into the groove and into the 3 slots. Press that in, listen for a click from it. We'll just double check to make sure it's seated properly. All right, let's get ready to install our brand new transmission cooler line. You'll find that on the side that's going up inside the engine compartment, I applied a little bit of tape just to cover this area so no debris makes its way inside. Let's carefully start sliding this into place and then install it into the transmission. Let's bring this plastic piece up into the proper position so it doesn't get stuck in the wrong area. Line up the line with the connector and we'll press this in as far as we can. Just go ahead and wiggle it around as you press. There we are. We'll give that a little wiggle to make sure it is properly secured in place. Now we can put on our plastic cover. Press that over, make sure it's completely secured. Now we can make our way back up along the side of the engine. We're going to put the transmission line into the bracket. Start with the lower one. Press that down and in as far as we can. Let's get this transmission line in the bracket. Slide right in there. There we go. Now we can install our shield. Get this in position. Once you have it up there, go ahead and start in each of those two 13mm headed mounting bolts and snug them up. Now back up in the engine compartment, let's continue on with our metal clip directly into the line here. Now we can take these two lines, we'll press them together and listen for a click from the area. Heard a nice click coming from that. We'll give it a tug to make sure it is secured in place. You don't want this coming apart while you're driving down the road. There we are, we'll just confirm that's nice and tight. Now that we have our transmission line secured, let's continue on to quickly checking the transmission fluid. That dipstick will be located along the passenger side of the engine. You want to make sure you're doing this on a flat level surface. Let's get a quick reading of this. We'll give this a quick wipe. On the dipstick, you can tell that there's two small holes, and in between that, there's some hatches. That's where the fluid level should be at when it's at normal operating temperature and on a flat level surface. Now with that said, let's start up the vehicle, let it run for a little while, and we'll check the fluid level. Now once you start it up, go ahead and turn it right back off. We want to double check the connection points up inside the engine compartment and down at the transmission just to make sure we do not have a leak. Once you've done so, let's continue running this vehicle for a short while, letting it get up to normal operating temperature. Can you check the fluid level? As you can tell, the fluid level is a little low. Assuming you're at normal operating temperature, continue on by adding the proper transmission fluid until you're up in between those two dotted lines, right in the hatches. To add transmission fluid, we'll be using a funnel right inside that dipstick tube. As you can tell, with this vehicle running on a flat level surface and at normal operating temperature, I'm right at the maximum of the hot line. That's where I want to be. At this point, we'll just go ahead and clean off that dipstick and reinstall it. Make sure that's locked in tight. Okay, friend, we showed you how to install the transmission line on your vehicle. We topped off the fluid and we checked for leaks. At this point, you can go ahead and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.